Okay. I'm using my new laptop today.
Finally, you got that thing out. Good girl.
I know. That's what she said too. Um, so did you want to talk to Avery today, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't really have anything planned, but I'm just gonna go on a date with him.
Okay, well it's gonna be how their community is everything. Nothing's a secret. So
Great. So are they all coming?
yeah, they're already all here and so they're all giggling when you
Oh
said you're gonna go
dear.
on a date with him. Because you're not
All
alone.
right, well, all
Um,
right.
I tried practicing with him trance channeling, but he's so new to it, and he's a bit like unsure of himself. Um,
Aw.
I don't know if Sam is fine with it, but he seems, I don't know. I asked him if he wanted to. He's like, "What do I do?" Like, I don't know. Have
I don't
Sam
know.
have Sam
How
help you.
funny. So did you guys try it? Did it work?
I don't know if we. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of left my body, but it was weird because nobody was in my body
What
while I was
happens when
going.
what happens then?
My right arm, for some reason, it twitches like crazy when I'm not in my body and nobody else is in it. It's like this involuntary reaction. My arm just starts twitching, and it kind of reminds me of like a fish flailing out of water. Like it's kind of like that.
How weird. How funny. All
um,
right. Well, we don't have if we don't have to do it like that. We
we
can
could
do it
just
like
do like a
before.
channeling, like last time,
Yeah. Okay,
and
you can
then
come on our date too then.
he feels more comfortable with that.
Okay.
He said he wants to practice in private with me, trance channeling, because he doesn't. He gets embarrassed. Um, he's saying he doesn't want to make a fool of himself.
Aw.
Just can't
Allison
do.
said he kind of had a shy way about him when he went and crashed our god party.
Yeah, he
Oh, how
can.
sweet.
Yeah, he can be shy. My room's a mess. I'm sorry. I have all like this shit on the floor right here, and he's kind of just floating right above it. Everyone else is like behind me, sitting on my bed with all their kids.
Funny.
I
Oh
told
my
them,
gosh.
yeah, I told them it might get a little bit inappropriate, but they still brought their kids anyway. So
Sex
I,
ed.
yeah, I know. Sex ed. Okay, so what do you want to talk about with him?
All right. Well, let me just do a little introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just post this from the beginning. That's okay. But just to let people know, I'm about to talk to Avery, and Avery is somebody that Heather and Sam hooked me up with, and we talked once before, and it was very informal and super inappropriate. So we couldn't really, we would have to do some editing in order to share that one. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
tone it down a little, just because Heather and we just have mouths on us. Can't take us anywhere. So this time, and my original plan actually, Heather, was to get questions from other people. That way, if they were really embarrassing, I can, just like go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person asked that question. But now they're all on me. So if I'm brave enough to ask the questions, I'm hoping that Avery will be brave enough to answer them. I'm nervous about this because this is going to be some sexy stuff.
He's straightening himself up, like the way that their
Uh
suits are, like they go up to here to your neck,
huh.
and it zips up. It zips up, but it's like on the inside, it's on the inseam, and so he's like straightening himself up,
Uh
zipping it up higher, and he's like straightening it out.
huh.
Okay, and he has
What is
his
he? Is he wearing
weapon.
like work?
Um, he has his weapon on him. It's like a long white pencil. It just looks like a
The
pencil.
pencil?
Yeah, like it's like this, but it's all white.
Okay.
Um, a little bit thicker than that pencil, but yeah, he has his weapon on him. He says he has to carry it at all times. He says right now it's working hours for him,
Wow.
and he has to have it on him. Okay. Well, don't like zap me
So
or anything.
well, what is it for? Tell us what that was for.
He's
Pencil.
playing with it. He's going like this. He's just like, oh, it's just to protect myself. And he says,
No, but what is it used for?
uh,
Drawing?
He says, no, I do not draw with it. It's made out of type of microwave or something, or I'm not good with physics.
Okay.
Um, type of microwave particles or whatever. But they use radioactive blasts to hit you with it, and it causes you to bleed internally when they hit you with it. So you die
Oh,
from bleeding from the inside out. That sounds scary. But they can also, like, there's different settings on them. And that's actually kind of scary because they could just, like, the one flip of, like, the wrong switch and you could die from, like, just being momentarily paralyzed to just death. But he said, we don't make mistakes often. All proud. Okay. Anyway.
all right. Put that thing away, boy.
Yeah, but most
We're
of
gonna
the
have some
time when they
fun.
come into contact, when their species comes into contact with really anybody that's not one of them, they'll use that device and they'll put it up against your temple. And they'll make you either, they can control your movements, say stand still and don't move.
Wow.
Or they can tell you, go back to reading your book or something. Or like if they want to have a
And,
conversation with you and they want to keep you calm and serene, it'll feel like a dream, and sometimes they'll
okay.
kind of cloud over your vision so you don't remember it, at least until you're ready to remember it. And that's how they
Uh-huh.
use the device as well. It's kind of cool, but also kind of
Okay.
annoying.
So has it been used on you before,
Oh yeah, all the
Heather?
time. Every time they come see me. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I'm married
Okay.
to
So
one,
it's
they
not
still use it on me. So, whatever.
okay. Well, what is Avery in his work clothes? What's he wearing?
It's an
What are you
all
wearing?
white. It's an all white suit, and it's a two piece, so it's not really like a jumpsuit. So, but they're the same exact color.
Okay.
It's a long sleeved, and it looks silvery. Like there's like some sparkles going off of him. Like your shirt, like a little sparkles.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, we're so matchy.
yeah,
Just kidding.
and matching white pants. They're like a silvery white. It's not pure white.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, and then boots. It looks like moon boots. Like the astronaut boots. That's what they look like. That's what he's wearing.
Okay. Well, hi Avery. How are you?
He says hello like that. And he only has four fingers, so hello with four fingers. And he says, I am doing rather well. He laughs. He thinks it's funny when humans ask how someone else is doing. Um, and he says, but the polite thing to say is, how are you? So he's
Say
asked,
that again, that last part.
he said, but the polite thing to ask is, how are you? So he's asking you how you're doing.
Oh, he's reciprocated.
Hmm.
Reciprocating. Well, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to get another opportunity to talk to you because even though I feel you, I'm not great on communicating yet. So I feel like this is the second time that we've had to really talk to each other. And that's kind of strange because, we're having this like relationship sort of, yet we don't talk. Let's talk about our relationship now and how we. Well, how did you hear about me? Uh-oh, what do you say?
Okay, no, it's just you saying, well, let's talk about our relationship. And he kind of like looks to the ladies because they start giggling because I guess their girls do that. Their women do that all the time. Like, let's talk about us and things like
Let's
that.
talk about our feelings. Where do you see this going?
Everybody laughing. I have a room full of aliens.
God, that's crazy. All right, so Avery, tell me how you heard about me and what your thoughts were. How was I presented to you? Uh-oh.
Oh God. Okay. So he's making it sound so nonchalant. He said Sam approached me with a human that wanted to engage sexually and said, "I have a human for you to meet, a woman," and he described you. And he said that what intrigued me the most was that he said you're a mother, and what he said, because I've never been with a mother before. And I guess for them, that's like this whole other level. I guess that's some weird kinky shit they're into.
I'm
Um,
a MILF, what can I say?
and because they think motherhood is sexy. That's like the ultimate thing. And he's saying that, and then he said he got particularly intrigued when he found out you were married. And he said at first he stepped back because he wasn't sure if he wanted to cross that boundaries. And so Sam, he's showing me, Sam went, no, no, no. No, 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 the marriage is entirely different. And so Sam had to explain to him the dynamics of human marriage and different types of relationships humans have. And so then he finally understood. And so he said, as long as she's on the same page as I am and knows where I'm coming from, then I'm more than willing to have this relationship with her. And he said, and that's how you first came to me. I knew what you looked like just based off of what Sam said. He said, dark hair, green eyes. He said, I've never been with a woman with green eyes before. And he's saying that when he came to meet me, because he had to pass my test,
Right. Thank you, Heather.
he got an even broader, better description. And he said that we set boundaries that night between me and him about what you're expecting and what he's expecting. And after that, he said that I was given the go-ahead by Sam, who is my superior, on, when I can go see you. I don't even really have to ask permission. He said it's not really asking permission. I just tell them when I leave.
Right.
He
Right.
said, and now I go whenever. He said, you're the reason why I get so much freedom now.
That's because I call on him a lot.
Yeah.
And
He said he likes
but
it. He appreciates it.
oh,
Because then
oh,
he likes to play more than work. And he's saying it's not that he's not passionate about his work. He loves what he does. But he likes to go on adventures and explore. And he said, and you're like a new adventure to him. And
back at you.
he's
Well,
having a lot of fun.
okay.
He likes your
So when I
children.
hang out with you, what?
He really likes your children. He says, yeah,
Oh,
which son? He said the eldest son is the one that he really,
really?
yeah, the one that what's that word he's trying to say? Connects with. The one he really connects with and
I
identifies
love
with.
that. I do talk to my kids about him. I don't tell my husband just because he just don't believe it.
Yeah.
But the kids, I go, do you believe me, Josh? Oh, yeah. And I believe he does. I love it. I love that my kids are on board as
He's
much as they can be.
he's showing me an image of Josh. Remember, he has the same name as my boyfriend. He's laying down and he's sleeping, and Avery is kind of standing over him as he's sleeping and kind of just like looking at his face, just to memorize what he looks like. And he likes to draw on the characteristics that he has from you. And then he showed me an image of him walking around the room, looking at all the toys. He says sometimes it's messy and out upstairs, and because what their clean is different than our clean. He said sometimes toys will just be thrown in bins, but they're not organized in any kind of way. He said
Right.
that's considered messy to us. Then he says he enjoys. There's a car. I don't know if he has some type of. I don't know who has a car or a remote control car or some type of. I don't know.
That
But
could, you know what? There's like a lot of that going around here.
but
Lots of cars, lots of remote toys.
he's showing me him picking up a car and he's rolling it, and
Oh
he
my
likes to play with
gosh.
it. God, you're such a
Maybe it's
kid.
there might be the Pinewood Derby cars that they made. Ryan made a display of all the cars he made from Boy Scouts. He stuck
Oh,
it in the window like it's this big prominent feature.
that's probably what it is, because they like homemade things. They like things made from scratch.
Ugh. I'm gonna take a picture of it and see if it starts moving around a little bit. Move the
Oh yeah.
cars, Avery.
Oh yeah,
Move
move
just a
them
little
around, put
bit.
them like across the room or something. And he's saying, "Are you
Yeah.
sure you won't get scared?" No,
Nah.
no,
I've
it'll be fine.
already accused you guys of anytime something's missing, I just blame you. Just kidding. I
They're all
do, but I'm just
laughing.
kidding.
They're all laughing, and there's this woman here. They call her the teacher because she's a teacher, and
Right?
her laugh is the loudest. Finds it
then
very
they're going to
funny.
start blaming Avery for everything too. It's convenient. Just do it.
Yeah.
But you know what, Heather, what I've learned with talking to you is that our senses of humor are not the same. So sometimes when I make a joke now, like the time I joked about eating my cat, the humor's not the same. So I'm a
No.
little nervous about telling jokes now. But
I
okay,
know
I'm
they
not.
like dry sense of humor and cheesy puns. Just
Oh,
any
that's
kind of
right.
cheesy puns. Yeah. They like those things. They don't like sexual humor. They don't get my that's what she said jokes. Like they understand the reference. They're like, "Oh yes, sexual humor. I understand." But it's not funny to
It's not
them.
funny. That's funny.
Mhm.
Um, so Avery, when you're coming and you're checking out my house and stuff, that's astral. Your body is not in here, is it?
He says no, his body's not physically in your house. He says that he hasn't gotten enough strength. He's saying strength to come see you in his physical form. He said it takes too much time for travel, and there's a lot of dangers. I don't think he's using the right word, dangers. It's just there's a lot of things he has to take into
Okay.
consideration.
Okay.
He's saying I have to be careful to make sure that the other humans do not see me,
Yeah.
because we do not have cloaking devices on our spacecrafts. And he says that he says some do, but it's only on their way advanced ones, their bigger ones. And he said, I'm not going to take a huge one to go see you. He said
Not yet.
our big ones are as sometimes as big as your house, maybe even
Wow.
bigger. He said, I'm not going to take that to go see you. He says that I've lost my train of thought. That happens a lot when I'm channeling and I'm awake.
Well, yeah, you've got their thoughts and your thoughts, and I'm over here talking at you too.
Yeah, it takes a lot. So I'm just like, I'm sorry if I seem slow.
Okay, so let me I'm gonna and some of the stuff that I'm gonna talk about will be a repeat of our last conversation. But I wanted to talk about that time and because I wanted some validation.
Hmm.
And one time, and I told Heather about this, when I was lying in bed, well, I was asleep, and I woke up and I was so incredibly cold. And my first instinctual thought was Avery was here. And then I learned that you weren't quite here, but you still pulled my blanket off of me.
He said they can
Tell me
easily.
about that.
He said we're only in 4D. We're only just right above you. So he's saying it's very
Okay.
easy for us to manipulate physical objects if we're not there in person. He said mostly 4D is not jumping to a whole other dimension. It's more in being invisible. He's saying it's more about a way of thinking.
Okay.
And he said that there's some humans that are at this level already and they're still in a physical body. They just are just less tense, much easier going, much happier and uplifted. He said it's the same thing for us. We do go down to 3D sometimes when we're incredibly angry. He said, and that hurts us a lot. Or when we're super sad, that's why we die so easily.
Hmm.
And so, because it takes a toll on us to be here, to be at such a low density. He's saying, but it's not hard for him to come see you. He's not lowering his vibration when he comes see you physically or astrally. He said he doesn't
Okay.
want you to think that. Um,
Okay.
he's saying it's hard to explain to a human that using human words. He said because you don't have the right words to explain it. Um, but he said that he did rip off your blanket. He wanted to see what was going on underneath it with your legs.
Oh my.
Were you wearing shorts or like nothing?
A sock.
You were just wearing a sock?
My sock.
Okay, he wanted to see what your body looked like. He took it off
And
and
that makes me, we talked about that before, that makes me a little bit shy. But he was
he's
so sweet.
smiling. He's smiling and he's
Oh,
blushing. He said, "You have nothing to be shy about." He said, "I've already seen everything. Trust me." Ooh.
oh my.
Oh my.
I want to see his body. Like, so
I don't want to
Avery,
see your body though. That's the thing.
but well, you're extra tall. Is everything like in proportion? Like,
Oh my
like
god,
what's your shoe
yeah.
size?
He said that, okay. He said their feet grow with their body. Um,
Does, does everything?
no, their penises. Their penises stay the same size. They don't grow with them. Um, he said because that's an organ. He said our organs don't grow with our bodies, and he said, and ultimately that's how we die. Is
That's
our
right.
organs don't grow. He says he's 9 foot, and he said that. So that means he said he hit his growth spurt early. He said 200 years earlier than most.
Now, why did you do that? What's your story? Because you're a little unusual.
He said that he doesn't have a father. He said he said no, that's not true. I have a father. I just don't know who he is.
Hmm.
He said I have a mother. A lot of people think that my father was human or just not one of us
Hmm.
because my mother became pregnant with me from another planet. Well, she
Hmm.
arrived on Earth, and there's this
Pregnant.
period of time where she could have gotten pregnant on this planet or on the previous one. We don't know yet, and she won't tell anybody. She won't even tell me. And it could be because she feels ashamed.
Oh, mama.
And so he's saying, so it would make sense why I hit my growth spurt early. He said, I don't know if maybe being human would make me shorter, or this is as tall as I'll get. He looks at himself, perhaps I'll live a long time. He said, or perhaps I'll live shorter amount of time. He said, I really don't know. Um, but everything else, he looks exactly like them, except for the fact that he is extremely muscly. Like he's
Ooh.
has much more muscle than they do, because they don't take in a lot of protein. They don't eat meat at all, and then the vegetables they do eat, it doesn't have a lot of protein in it. So they're incredibly lean, and he just says he doesn't break bones as easily as everyone else does because of how thick
Right?
he is. He's not like super mega buff, but he's just like how a human, like a fit human male would look like one that
Okay.
goes running and stuff. Um,
Did you have any um, like a, uh-oh,
hmm.
my whole thing just went blank. That's so weird. I touched a wire and you disappeared. Am I still here? Oh, there you
Yeah.
are. Whew. Okay. So did you, like a human would have possibly people make fun of him, kids making fun of him growing up for being different. Did you have any of that or did you kind of embrace your you I feel like I won the prize. I got the cute one.
Oh, okay. So the girls, ladies, were all kind of like exchanging looks when he said that. Kind of like they don't think you did. Um,
I don't have a
um,
big frame of reference either, but I'm sticking to that.
some of them did though. Some of them kind of like, yeah, I kind of did, but then they like immediately like hit that,
All right.
feeling they got. Kind of like, that's the bad boy, the player, and you're not supposed to like.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Here's the prize, bitches. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
I'm
don't
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
don't do that. Um, she's joking. She's
I
joking.
really am. Heather and I got potty mouths. See? Look at me and my
Some like
inappropriate.
you made 3 of them leave.
Oh no, come back. I'm just kidding. I'm a really nice person, I promise.
Avery is laughing his ass off right now because
Okay.
okay, so
I'm gonna start like an intergalactic war. I'm all nervous now.
don't
Hang
be.
on.
They're just really sensitive. That's all. You're fine. They'll get over it. Um. Okay, so he's saying that growing up when he was a boy, like elementary school age, he wasn't bullied because of how big he was, like thick, muscly. They were too scared of him. Um, but
Mm,
as he grew into a teenager and started to, he said, it's not necessarily I had issues with the ladies, it's just that I wanted too much of the ladies. And I could lure them in, his choice of words. And that made me, he said that they didn't openly bully me, call me names, but the feeling was there. He said you can pick it up on how people perceive you just off of feeling. And they didn't approve of him and how he thought. He said at the time I wasn't even, he said a player yet. And he's using two fingers.
Pre-player. The pre-play.
Yeah. He said at the time I wasn't a player. But it's like they knew that I wasn't somebody who would stay with one person and be married and become a father. And that wasn't the lifestyle I wanted either. So he said it's just looks of disapproval is what it was. And he said, and even that tiniest little bit can be really rough on us because we're extremely sensitive.
I can relate to that. I get my feelers tweaked real easy. So I'm
he loves that about you, that you're super sensitive. He said it's a lot like them.
Oh, I am a really big crybaby, and I wonder if he sees me because I know that.
He said
he told me.
He's saying he's connected to you, because you two have connected sexually to the point that you have established this. He's saying it's not necessarily like if we were to be married, but it is a bond that we have. I have this bond with many other women that I've been with as well, but I've learned how to cut ties, not completely, but so much so that their emotions don't affect me as much anymore. It's more of like a faint cry in the distance, he's saying, like an echo. With you, I'm choosing to be much more, choosing to let your emotions be louder for me. So he's saying he says he knows when you cry. He says he knows your pain when you feel it. He hurts when you hurt. It doesn't completely overtake him like it would a husband, but he says he knows it. He can feel it just a tiny little bit. So, yeah.
That's really sweet. And you told me last time too that you were going to kind of help me with my broken heart. And I think you must have, because I've been feeling a lot better.
Good. Yes, he says he has been trying in his own way that he knows how. He said he doesn't know if he's the best healer. He said, I don't have magic hands, but I heal through love that I give.
Yeah, that was something. I want to talk about sex and love for a sec, because I'm learning that there are different ways and different degrees of love. Because when we first kind of started this thing up, we were both very clear that, I understand how the Sarsahr are and they commit for forever. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want that same sacrifice that Sam gave to Heather, although he doesn't consider it a sacrifice at all, and he's glad to do it. But through my eyes, it felt like one. So I didn't want that. But still, you told me that you had love for me, and I was trying to really wrestle with that. How do you have love but not want to commit? Anyway, I have found that too. So I feel love for you too. And when we do connect, it really does squeeze my heart chakra, and I feel it, and I cry, and I feel love for you. But then when it's done, I'm back to me and normal again, and the residuals are still there. That feeling is still there, but it's not like a human might expect love to be. Like a commitment, and that's just it.
Yeah.
It's just you. But it's not. It's, we have enough room in our hearts for many. And I'm really glad that you're one of mine. When
you started to tear up, I could see him on your end. He's kind of wrapped his arms around you and put his hand right on your chest. And he made that, they make these awesome sounds. I love just everything about how they sound. It was like a bird cooing. That's what it sounded like.
That's so sweet.
It's to me that
like
sounds
an endearing sound.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet girl sound. Oh.
Yeah. It's just, I love the sounds they make. Now he's all embarrassed and blushing because I called him out on what he did.
Well, I'm going to embarrass you some more then, Avery, because I'm not here to just brag, although I don't mind bragging a little bit. But really, when we started this thing, we invited, it just happened to be our women and your men, because that's just the way it happened, to connect like you and I did. And they're going to want to know what's going on. So I think we should talk about it a little bit.
Mhm.
So I'm going to talk about what I'm experiencing, and maybe you can elaborate because you are a little bit more evolved than I am and might know what's going on.
Mhm.
So what I do to I'll just meditate and I'll just focus on you and call you to me. And I'm under the impression that you hear it every time and you can usually come astrally, I guess. But but I don't think I'm always receptive to it. But when I do feel it, man, it feels so good. I love it. And it's sexy. It's a sexy energy. I don't really know how to describe one from another. Why does one feel sexy and one doesn't? But
Mhm.
it just does. Tell me what you're doing.
Okay, so he shows himself. I don't know how you meditate. If you sit up, lay down, or you do a mixture of both. Um,
I usually lie down, but I can be just as easily sitting in a chair.
um, right now in this instance, he's showing you sitting down, legs crossed.
Okay.
Um, and he's showing like his hands going like this in a circular motion, like right where your lower, like right below your belly button in that area. And he said that's your major trigger point. And oh, okay, so I'm gonna say this. Um,
Say it.
he kind of wraps his hand down under, where your area is, and
Area.
your area, and and he'll swirl there too. He's like it's just energy. I'm messing with
Mm.
your. He said you humans call it chakras. We call it fine points. Like the direct translation would be find your fine points. That's actually kind of cool. Um, and then he'll move his hand up your body. Okay, you're funny. I'm feeling exactly what it is, and I don't want to, but because this is like you two, and this is weird now.
You love it, Heather. You love it. Go.
So he'll swirl around in this area too. He said sometimes he'll go to your head, and that feels really nice because it'll help get rid of any stress or overthinking on your part. It'll help relieve your mind altogether, and it'll help you just feel it better. He's saying don't build up too much expectation around it. He's saying because that means I have to do a lot of work up here and
Oh,
less
okay.
focus in the area that is best to you. He said you like your feet to be touched, swirled with. He said maybe not physically touched, but energetically. There's something about your feet that he said there's one foot in particular, maybe it's the one with your one sock that he touches.
Maybe. Oh, funny.
Yeah, it's that one. He'll swirl around a lot, and it'll just for some reason immediately translate up into the triggered area.
Ah. Well, I've been told many times that my feet are especially receptive to energy. And I'm standing, I got my feet on a rock right now because of it.
He's showing me. Okay, so he wants to show me lots of images. So it's
Oh,
you laying down and him starting at your feet, and he has this like mischievous smile on his face as he's doing it, and like works starting at your feet and works up your body. Um, and he said, and he feels it too, whatever
mm.
pleasure it is. He said it's reciprocated. Um, he's saying because we're connected energetically, I feel what you feel, and even if you can't feel it consciously,
Mhm.
it's picked up. Um, I don't know how it is that he's able to feel it. He's making it sound like it's not just through you feeling it that he feels it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just he's communicating through feeling how it is, and it's weird for me to translate. I don't have the words for it. But say you get touched here, but maybe you don't feel it. Like someone poked you, but you weren't paying attention. He would
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
that, even though on his
Interesting.
body.
Okay.
It's like that. Even if you don't,
Okay.
you're
Well,
not
I'm glad to
conscious of
hear
it.
that because I don't really know what to do. I just lay down and say I'm ready. But
Yeah,
sometimes I think some thoughts, but
he said the thoughts help. The thoughts translate because
I
he
think
said
I think
thoughts
some
are.
thoughts,
Yeah, he said this before, but thoughts are energy, and so
right?
he'll get those images. He said sometimes he'll be in the middle of working, and all of a sudden he said I can't multitask, and he'll be in the middle of working, and he'll just stop what he's doing, and he shows this funny image of him just standing there, like there's like something's going on as he's getting these
Terry's
images.
thinking about Avery again.
Yeah, and then like he'll get this like slight little smirk on his face. And then usually he works closely with Sam. And so Sam will just look at him and they'll just make eye contact for a split second. And Sam said, you can go. Like, he
Oh my
understands.
gosh, that's so funny. That is so, oh, Sam's such a cool boss. That's so funny.
He says he really is, and it doesn't hurt that I'm good friends with him either. So
That's right. Now, nepotism, I love it.
yeah, they do have
And you know,
nepotism.
you said that you used the word swirl. That's the exact word I would use.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel that, and my area starts twitching. It twitches.
Oh.
That's some strong energy he's got going there.
He said they're very good at manipulating energy.
Yeah. And
he said that's why
and, you know,
he's also saying when we eventually have physical sex, you will feel it both energetically and physically at the same time.
That sounds amazing.
He said something to look forward to.
Hell yeah. What are you waiting on? Me?
He said, yeah, you mostly.
Okay. Still incubating. Got it.
Also, and getting approval, because this goes above Sam being able to come physically. He can come astrally anytime he wants, just let someone know. But physically, that's a whole other area, a whole other arena going on.
Let me talk about the way that you guys, you talked a little bit about this before, and it didn't really sink in, so I want to hear it again, about how for you guys, I guess energetic and physical are of equal pleasure for you guys.
Yes, it is. It's just, he says it just feels different for them. It's just, he said it's not different as in one's better than the other. It's just, it's a different experience.
Okay.
He's talking about how, so he's saying with humans, most of the time, there's very rare humans out there that can do this while fully awake, astral travel. He said, you call it astral traveling. We don't have a name for it. It's the same thing as being in a physical body.
Okay.
He said, but most of the time humans have to be asleep to be at this higher density. He says it's funny you call it higher density because density means for lower.
It's like an oxymoron, huh? The higher density.
Don't insult humans. Come on, we're trying. He kind of made it sound like we're stupid, his little remark. Like we're little elementary school kids.
Kind of are.
Yeah. Then he's talking about how they don't need to be asleep to do it, and they always remember it. Humans will forget, they'll start doubting. He's saying that it's strange. He's saying it's strange to me that humans would doubt an experience or a dream even, and just they play off dreams as something as unreal, like a movie. Imagination. He said, why is that any less real than what you're doing physically awake? He said it has to do a lot with what your beliefs are. Your society paints this picture that this only one way is the reality and not the other. He said both are realities. One's just much more crazier than the other.
I'm not sure which one that is.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure either.
Well, Avery, do you think it's possible then that you and I mean our species in general, dream differently? Because it really is very vague and confusing, and we don't often remember them, and they're discombobulated. And
he says he dreams, and there would be no different than humans. Sometimes he dreams about his fears. He's showing me spiders. He said he doesn't like spiders. He said planet Earth has the creepiest bugs. Yeah, he doesn't like any of our insects, like at all. None of them. He doesn't like them. He says he'll zap them if they come too close to him. He'll just kill
get
them.
Your pencil out.
Yeah,
that's what that high tech thing's for. It's just for zapping the bugs.
Yeah, he just zaps them anytime they come near. He's like, except for butterflies. He said, I've made a truce with the butterflies.
Oh, wouldn't that be cute if he was scared of the butterflies? I'll protect you.
He's showing me, like, what happened with the truce with the butterflies. He had zapped one, and there were a bunch of little kids playing because he was being a guard. And the children loved the butterflies, and they were chasing them. And one of them got too close to him, and he just zapped it, and the children just like looked at him, and then afterward he kind of like like put dirt with his foot over it. Like it just didn't happen.
Oops.
He said, "I won't." Like he promised the children he wouldn't kill the butterflies anymore, because they got upset. They're like, "Why would you do that?" Things like that. So he said he has to keep his promise. They never break a promise.
Oh, that's sweet. Um, Avery, can you think of something else that the humans would want to know about interacting?
He wants to point out, he said, since this is being recorded, he pointed at my screen, at the little record box on my screen. He's like, since this is being recorded, he said,
Yes.
I want people to know that my people are not like me. Do not expect contact with one of my people and expect a sexual encounter. We are not like this. It is just me who is like this.
Okay.
He said that he feels that he's different because he's here to help heal his people about their sexuality. He said it's very unhealthy how they view it. He said, and I know I've spoken about this with you, Carrie, before, but I want to say it for everybody else, that we are extremely unhealthy. We're very prude. That's the word I would use. And humans, they abuse it way too much, sex, or they view it as something that's not so sacred or something to be prude about. They're a mixture of both, but either way, it's very unhealthy. Not all humans, but most humans. And how you paint it in your society, and he said in your Hollywood, he calls it, if you pay attention to your Hollywood, and he's saying, and our people are way too prude about it. We don't abuse it enough. We're way on the other side. He says that I think it's very interesting that I'm with a human, and I've been with other humans before. So he said, my people think I abuse it. He said, in a lot of ways I do, because he said, but the thing is to me, it's not meaningless. Whenever I do have sex, it's never meaningless. I always have a deep bond with the person I'm connecting with, whereas humans won't even know their name most of the time, or even exchange a couple of sentences. He said, so in that sense, I do not abuse it. I think of it as sacred. I don't use it as a means to escape my reality, to gain type of pleasure, like a drug, to get a high. He said, I just enjoy it. I enjoy the art of it, the feeling of it. I enjoy connecting with people in that way. And he said, he's also saying, and ladies, don't expect me to connect with you in this way. It's only with Carrie. I'm not going to jump in. I'm not going to mess around with someone who's swimming in the same pool, is what he's saying.
Isn't that sweet? I appreciate that. You're my only guy too. I'm not swimming in the Sarsahr pool.
Yeah, he said that he knows how human women are. They get very jealous, even though they'll say they're fine with it. He says, I know you're not fine with it. I know if a woman were to tell you that she would connect it to me sexually, you'd be very hurt. He said, I don't want to hurt you. He said his promise to you is that he will never hurt you. And they always keep their promises, so.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh. He said, but he will have sex with other human women, just none that you will know.
And you know what? That's cool with me.
Yeah.
It really is.
He said, we established this already. I already told you.
Yes, and it's not because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's because there's enough love to go around.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Okay, so and you know what, Avery, I don't know, if you heard me mention this before, but Eric,
wait,
I know that
on.
you've been...
He wants to say you look very beautiful today before we move on. So.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, he's charming me. He knows all the human women tricks. Whew.
He said you knew you took a lot of time to get ready, and he says he finds you very beautiful. So.
Gosh, look at me. I have the vapors. I'm swooning. See you later, big boy. You're in. Well, Eric told me a while ago that eventually Mr. Right Place, Right Time will come my way, and I'm wondering if it was you. They wouldn't give me any clues as to who it was, but I don't think I would have been able to handle those kind of clues.
Yeah, he says he doesn't know the answer any more than you would, but
you're the one. I'm going to find out, but I think it's you.
He's saying for fun, it's me. But
It
he's a,
is you. And you know what else he said? I had asked a question before that was, I just asked it wrong and it gave the completely wrong impression of what I was trying to say. But his answer made me have a thought, and I loved this thought. It just never occurred to me that our higher selves are interacting because we are interacting, our higher selves are.
oh
And
yeah.
because of you and I, Heather, we're always talking about M6. Fairy Girl feels like one of my friends. So I'm like, my friend Fairy Girl. I know she's me, but she's, I don't know.
You
I
could be
can't
best friends
connect
with
on.
yourself.
There you go. So that's interesting to me that our higher selves are hanging out. I want to ask Fairy Girl what she thinks about all this next time I get a chance to talk to her.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
Good.
I like that too. That we're working together. That's what the higher selves would call it.
Yeah, working
Work.
together. He said definitely. We don't call it higher selves. He said because that is to insinuate that being is separate than you. It's you.
Separate. Yeah.
He said a higher consciousness. He said or subconsciousness. He said would probably be a better term for human. It is
Okay.
still you, but it's happening behind closed doors, and
Yeah.
and you're not. He said your front part of yourself. The way he explains it, your front part of yourself isn't aware of it, but your back part is.
Okay. Yeah, I need to work on feeling more connected to Fairy Girl and not a separate. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, I
All
had
they
another.
all left. There's like a few, like other here, like the women. The teacher's still here. She had her daughter leave. Um, but yeah, there's still a select few that are here, and I'm trying to look for the teenagers.
Oh gosh, I know they're gonna be like, oh, they got bored last time.
Yes.
It wasn't sexy enough. Well, let me switch back there a little bit because you are a little bit different, and you know you are. We really are like minds. I really think that
Hmm.
you were Mr. Right Place, Right Time. What can the other women that are wanting to participate and connect? Because I mean, what can they expect from a relationship? I know everybody's different, and you can't necessarily ask that or answer that, but
He said, no, I can't speak for the other men or women. Um, he's saying that he says there's some that are curious, but um, but they're not serious about it. He said it's more of like he's showing me that it's men, it's young men, like teens. They're in their their late teens, and they're kind of like um, they're being like little frat boys about it. They're not going to be serious about it. They're not really going to engage sexually with a human because deep down they have those deep rooted society, values. But it's a nice idea to flirt with in their head.
right, okay.
He
So
said,
is
so
there
don't
like locker
expect it.
room talk about you? I mean, are they
He
do they
said,
pump you
yes.
for
Oh,
information?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the young boys do. And he said that he doesn't paint it as something to glorify. He's saying it's a very private, sacred thing. And he said you should never abuse sex. And he says the women, when he said locker room talk, he said, I'm sure the women talk behind my back and they don't say very nice things. Some of the Sarsahr women don't like him because he has broken their hearts, and because he wasn't totally truthful with them. He didn't tell them what this was. And some of them,
Explain that some more because I understand it, but I want everybody else to because I think it's a beautiful thing what the Sarsar do.
yeah.
So, so I understand how you kind of, abuse that a little bit.
Yeah,
But
so
you learned from it, so go ahead.
when the Sarsahr, they have sex and they get married. Mostly when they have sex, it's like a permanent bond you can't break. You're connected to that person physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. And and it's like you're tethered together, tied at the hip, and it's something that's unbreakable. They don't have divorce at all. It's just this magical thing. And when one in the couple, if one dies, the other one will follow suit. And so with Avery, when he was first sexually active, he would have sex with women, but he wasn't entirely truthful with them. He never thought about their feelings about it.
Right.
And never took that in consideration. He said that's his one thing he regrets. And he said, and I'm not a perfect man. I make mistakes. He said, you call it being human. He said, so I suppose I am human. I am only human. They say they think it's funny that you say, I'm only human when you make mistakes. He said, what else would you be?
Right.
But he's saying that there's two of them, two women who are permanently bound to him because of his actions. And there's some that have chosen to break away from him. And he said it's a long and hard process. There's 5 of them. He had sex with 5 different Sarsahr women that he just really messed them up. And to this day, he still can't forgive himself. He said that what he does is, he said it's kind of like your fathers who are not in the children's lives, and he just drops off, the child. It's called child support. He said child money.
Child money.
It's called child support. And he shows up, he'll give them flowers, he'll give them food, he'll ask them whatever it is that they need. He said most of the time it's emotional support. They don't need him to do a task.
So
it's
he's
more
still bound to them, kind of.
Yeah, so he said he adheres to their emotional needs still.
Oh.
And he has to, until they're ready to let go of him, or he said he helps them with breaking the bond, because for him it will break the bond with him too. He said it takes 2 people to break it. But yeah, so there's still 2 of them. They're still bound to him, and one of them is extremely bitter and wants to hang on to it, almost like, kind of like, I'm going to get back at you. I'm going to stay tied to you forever. So if you ever do want to get married, you can't, because you're tied to me too,
Wow.
Kind of like, I'm your curse or something, like that's the feeling I'm getting. And
it does very much sound like an angry woman, like having a kid just to keep that guy around forever and ever. And I know that's not what she did, that she was just misled, but that's what it feels like now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And he said that whenever he calls on her, he hates it, because he knows that she's just calling on him to yell at him, to hurt him in any kind of way, not physically, but emotionally. He said, our women are very much like human women. They dig deep into your soul and get to what really hurts. They don't physically attack very often, he said. He's gotten scratched by a human woman before.
Oh, what are you getting in all this trouble for?
He said women in Vegas can be very crazy when they're drunk. And there was
you should know better than to get around a drunk woman.
He said he was making out with one of the women in this alley. He said it was a black woman. And we don't call him black. Okay, sorry. Okay, I don't know.
Sure.
Okay. And the woman got scared of him because for 1 second out of her drunken state, she kind of like clicked in her head, this guy isn't human. And he heard that thought, and he kind of like stepped back, and she swiped at him. And she had those long acrylic pointy nails.
Oh, no, yeah.
And so he got her good right here. And he said, but it healed up. It took 4 months. They heal much slower than we do. So it took him 4 months for the whole thing to just, wow, that's a long ass time. But yeah.
Avery, you be a good boy. You gotta be careful.
Oh my God, that sounds really bad. I'll say that after the video, what he said.
Uh-oh.
I'll say what he said.
Do I really want to know?
I'll write it down later. I'll remember. I'll write it down, and I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. Just because this is going to go publicly, and I don't want people thinking, you're like...
I don't want to know. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm dying to see what you just wrote down. Avery, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me again and explaining again and just interacting with me again in a way that, I'm like conscious for. I can talk and use my brain.
He's blowing me kisses, and then he kind of looked at me. He's like, that's right? They do that. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Blow me kisses. Mwah. All right, Avery. So I mean it. I know I'm not supposed to have expectations, but I'm going to see you in a couple hours, all right?
He says, of course. He does like a slight bow. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, Avery. And Heather, thank you, and I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you in 5 minutes. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys. Goodbye.
Bye.